Hello everybody, I'm Taylor Hickey and welcome to Inside Beauty. Today I'll be showing you how I achieved this look, so let's go ahead and get started with learning about skincare. So my focus is always just proper skincare before, because if you just go in and apply your makeup without skincare, it's not going to look as good. You need to prep it before you go ahead and apply the makeup. I already washed my face, used my toner, my serum, eye cream, moisturizer and all that. My imperfections on my skin, I have either rosacea or eczema on my cheeks, but other than that, I have like a couple of breakouts, as you can see here. My skin's pretty good. Now my concern is covering up my redness, because that is one of my biggest complaints about my skin. So first I'm going in with the J1 Jelly Pack Primer. And this one's really good because it's sticky and it has skincare benefits in it. The stickier the primer that you have, the better it has of a chance of lasting throughout the day. Now I'm going with my PUR Cosmetics Your Skin But Better CC Cream. And this one's pretty full coverage. And I self-tan normally. This is my natural skin color. As you can see, I'm very, very pale, but I like to have some kind of color. And I'm using the shade Light. Then I'm just going to take a damp beauty blender and just pounce it in. And using a damp beauty blender, this will give your skin but better effect. You always want to get on your neck. And then next I'm going in with Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Light, just to brighten up my under eyes, anywhere where the natural lights would hit. Just a couple of dots underneath my eyes, on my forehead, my nose, on the sides of my nose, just to make it appear a little smaller. My smile lines, chin, somewhat of a cheekbone. Don't really have cheekbones. And then any areas that didn't really cover. And I'm going to go in with my beauty blender and just blend that all in. And one thing is, if you're a beginner with beauty blenders, a lot of my clients tell me that either they have the beauty blender too wet or it's dry and they didn't know that they should dampen it. So just make sure that the beauty blender is damp. If it's too wet, it's going to remove your foundation or anything that you have on it, and it'll become cakey. So just get it wet, squeeze out the excess, and then I like to blot mine with the towel, make sure it's not too wet. And while I'm here, I just primed my eyelids because I have a lot of veins on my eyelids and they get pretty red. So instead of using an eye primer, I like to use a concealer because it really just covers everything, makes it ready for eyeshadow or whatever you're going to be doing. So next I'm going in with the Wet n Wild Contour, and it's in the shade Oaks on You, and it's the makeup stick. I just like to put it on the sides, a little bit on my forehead, and then on my nose. And this is a little bit warmer of a shade, but I like that for the summertime, especially if you want to look a little tanner, so more bronzed. And then again, I'm just going with my damp beauty blender and I'm just going to blend it out. Then I'm just going to go back in with my concealer, and anywhere where I feel like it needs to be a little more cleaned up, I'm just going to do that. So with the contour, I kind of lost the highlight in between my nose. And then this little blemish wants to keep popping through. It's better to start light and then build up as you go, because if you put too much, it's going to become cakey and you're going to use a lot more product and run out of your products quicker. So just start light and then build up as you go. Alright, and before I put any powders on my face, I'm going to go in with the Bretman and Morphe collab, the highlighting palette. And on a Morphe Rose Gold highlighter brush, I'm going to take Vacation and Get Laid mixed together. It's going to lightly turn, and wherever the light hits me naturally, that's where we want to highlight. See that? It's just so pretty, natural. And when you don't have any powders on your face and you go in when it's wet, I feel like the foundation, or I feel like the highlighter sticks better because there's nothing on it. So going on before you set your face with highlighter is much, much better. So I'm just putting it on my cheekbones, and then I'm going to put some above my brows and kind of connect it. Look at that. Stunning. And then I take a little bit of highlighter and I put it in between my brows. And what this does is kind of makes you look further up, because I have such a long nose and I don't want that to be the center of attention. So I just put it a little bit above my brows and then a little bit on the tip of my nose, Cupid's bow, and my chin. And that's how I highlight on a daily. Now you can set your face. I'm just using the Cover FX Perfect Setting Powder, and this is in the shade Translucent, or no, yeah, Translucent Light. And I'm just going to go under my eyes and make sure that there's no creasing before we apply powder. Because once you put that powder on, girl, you can't come back from it. So I just put it underneath my eyes on the bridge of my nose, because I do tend to get oily just like right up in here. We don't want that sliding off throughout the day. But my skin is pretty normal to dry. I do have eczema, so it's pretty sensitive as well, so I have to be careful what products I do want to use, just so I don't get irritated. I'm just lightly pressing over my smile lines. With this powder, it barely looks like I have anything on it, and it's just because it melts into the skin. It makes it look really nice. That's why I like it for every day. While we're here, I'm just gonna blend my concealer on my eyelids, make sure there's no creasing. And I'm just going to go lightly over with some powder. And that's the only parts of my face that I actually set with powder. I have pretty dry skin, and what I found out is if I put too much powder on my face, it gets really dry and crackly throughout the day. So I only set where I really need to. And then for bronzer, blush, all of that, I just go in with the bronzer blush and don't set it with powder. If you have oily or a combination, you would probably want to set your whole face just to make sure that it lasts throughout the day. So right now I'm just using a Real Techniques. This is the Duo Fiber Face Brush. I just dipped it into the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, and this one is in the shade Bronzer. I'm just lightly setting where we already put that cream contour. I don't really want like a defined look, I just want a bronzy, kind of effortless, kissed by the sun look. Lightly going over, and if you're heavy-handed, try to move your hand on the tip of the brush because it makes it easier for you to apply everything. If you go really, really heavy, it will be hard to kind of get those harsh lines out. Now I'm taking a Morphe E4 brush and the Flower Blush in the shade PB2, which is Peach Primrose. And then how I apply blush is I just smile without my teeth. And I have pretty chubby cheeks, so. And then if I see right there, I'm just gonna lightly graze over it. Next, I'm gonna take my Hello Flawless powder, and this is in the shade Petal. And I'm just taking it on a Japanese brush. And what I like to do is I like to just put this powder right underneath my cheeks. And that's basically it for my foundation routine. And then normally, depending on how I feel, I will do eyeshadow, but sometimes I just like to do, spend my time on my face, my skin, and just do lashes and maybe like a glossy lip or some pop of color on the lip. But if I want a little bit in my eyes, what I do is I just go in with my bronzer. I'm using a Sigma Taper Blending E35 brush. And if you have a hard time figuring out where to put your shadow in your crease, just kind of tilt your head back, and where you see the natural hollows of your crease, that's where you want to kind of go in. So I just tapped it in gently, tapped off the excess, and I have my hand pretty far down because you want to go in with a lighter hand. And this just warms up my eyes, gives me a little something. And then while we're already here, I'm going to take this same Morphe E36, tap off the excess, and I'm going to go right underneath my eye just to make it interconnect. I'm going to take that same highlighter palette with Bretman Rock and Morphe. With the Morphe Y22 brush, I'm going to take Baby Girl and put it in my inner corner, just to give me some kind of pop. So Baby Girl and Get Laid, I'm putting on underneath my brow bone. Any harsh edges, gonna kind of take that same Sigma brush and I'm gonna go over it and make sure the crease color and the highlighter are cohesive. I'm gonna take Vacation and Shady Bitch. I'm just gonna tilt my head back and apply it with my finger. And don't feel like you have to use an eyeshadow palette for the eyes. You can use whatever you want. Makeup has no rules. So I'm just gonna lightly, again, take the Sigma brush and just go over what we just did. The more that you spend time kind of blending it out, the seamless it's gonna be. I'm going to take my Tarte lash curler and curl my lashes. And I'm going to take the Benefit Roller Lash and just apply a thin coat because I am going to apply falsies. Those are my eyes without lashes. And if it's every day, you can leave it like this. You don't have to put lashes on. But for me, I feel like that's what really brings my look complete, is when I do have eyelashes on. It just makes them look more bigger and fuller and wider, more awake. So I'm just taking PUR lashes. This is in the style Diva. Normally on an everyday basis, I don't do eyeliner, just because I want the lashes and the skin to be the statement. Now I'm just taking the Duo Eyelash Adhesive in Dark Tone. Now if you're a beginner and you want to try lashes, I probably don't recommend using this lash glue because it does dry black, which is good if you're not going to wear liner. But if you're a beginner and you kind of still don't know where to place the lash, go in with the Duo Clear, because if you say you ended up getting the eyelash on your eye, it's going to be black everywhere and it's going to be kind of a bitch to take off. So you can just go in with a clear adhesive and it will dry clear. Did a thin layer of glue. And then you want to wait about 30 seconds for it to dry or get tacky. If you put it on too quickly, it's gonna kind of like slip and slide, and you don't want that. And if you have round eyes or almond eyes like me, what I like to do is I like just to bend the eyelash and kind of get it in this shape, a rounded shape, before I apply them. Once it's been about 30 seconds, I'm going to go ahead and apply it. I just kind of stick my head back and I make sure that I have a mirror. And I just kind of place them on right where my lash line is. Once I have my lash on, I kind of push my real lashes and my false ones together. Just lastly, I'm going to take the Buxom full-on lip polish. This one is like a lip plumper. You can feel a cooling or tingling sensation. Just going to apply it to my lips. I kind of go a little heavier in the center of my bottom lip, just so it looks a little more juicy. Wouldn't be a makeup look without setting spray. I'm using the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. Setting spray is so good. Just gonna lightly fan it in. And there you guys have it. It's my everyday foundation routine. So you can take whatever tips and tricks that you like to make it your own. Don't feel like you have to do step by step and have the same products. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching.